Hello. I am back with my Rain Guard team. I fixed the team, fixed the Incin, and I wanted to give a little bit of a more in-depth team report as well as an updated team ID if anybody is interested in using this team. The issue I had with Incineroar before was I was not a Adamant nature. I was Jolly nature, so I wasn't dealing as much damage as I would want to, and my speed was a little bit awkward. I made it Adamant again. Yes, the stats are intended to be like this. They are supposed to be bad, but fake outs are good. Flare Blitzes hurt, and Darkest Lariats hurt. It's also decent as a pivot. It's still decent as, well, a fake out user in general. And for Intimidate, that aside, I will go over Incineroar in just a sec. First things first, Gardevoir is the main highlight for this team. Icy Wind for speed control. Psyshock for a Sneasler obliterator, quite useful. Moonblast for solid burst damage, and Dazzling Gleam for solid spread damage. Toy Scarf to make sure that I outspeed just about everything in the game. I do not outspeed base 130s. It is worth noting. I believe I would reach a speed of 198 with this Toy Scarf because I am modest nature, not timid. I want more damage rather than I actually care about speed. Plus, even still with the Gardevoir, not many people expect Toy Scarf. Some people are expecting me to Mega Evolve and only be base 100. Well, joke's on you, I'm actually base 128. So, Archaludon is fairly standard, with Sturdy as my hidden sash, and Quick Claw for those beautiful fast hits. Actually comes in quite useful. Not many people know, but Quick Claw was actually buffed. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm pretty sure it used to be a 10% chance to proc. Now it's a 20% chance, so it's a little bit more reliable than it used to be. Plus, being able to have the chance to strike first and not be locked into a move, and also be able to go for Protect if you need to. Also quite useful. Sneasler has Throat Chop for all the ghost types that expect a fake out and don't want to protect. Helps me cover Gardevoir's weaknesses a little bit. Also Close Combat to be able to proc the Wider, be able to outspeed everything with Unburden, and Dire Claw because it's an annoying move and I love it. Protect just to stay healthy and to make sure I don't get fake outed before I can go for my moves. Meganium is Meganium. Incin is different. It's Adamant, like I said, and it's also holding Bright Powder. Bright Powder, while gimmicky, turns Rock Slide kind of into a joke. It's like the only time RNG has just absolutely always been in my favor. This Incineroar has never been touched by Rock Slide. I've switched into Rock Slides. I have led with Incineroar and taken Rock Slide on my teammate, but Incineroar just somehow always seems to never get hit by it. I believe with the Bright Powder, it actually makes Rock Slide's accuracy the same as Stone Edge, so being able to dodge moves that probably otherwise would drop me down below half, it's actually quite useful. Honestly, having more bulk on Incineroar and like a Citrus Berry or Leftovers or something similar is probably better. But this Incin, the few times I have ever used Incineroar, side note, on this team, it is my only fake out, my only intimidate, and my only pivot, and I have never brought it in any of my win streaks. Same with Meganium being my only Mega Evolution, I still hardly ever bring that one. The team is just good without them. But yeah, with the Adamant nature and all the attack investment, fake outs really hurt. I ended up critting a Charizard Y with it, and I did 33% to it. Obviously, Sneasler's fake out would hurt a lot more, but getting that damage from Incin actually helps me be able to use Throat Chop on Sneasler and gives me a little bit more coverage with Sneasler. Slower fake outs, but I get coverage, so it's, I think, worth the trade, personally. Pelipper has Soak. Now this is the only really super niche gimmicky gimmick if we're not counting Bright Powder. Wide Guard is my extremely super close second pick for a move, but I've left it as Soak because being able to remove Stab is actually a very useful tool. It turns like a Shadow Ball from Mega Gengar from being a 2-hit KO on Archaludon to being a 3-hit KO, for example. Plus, making your opponent weaker to Electroshot or Solar Beam is a plus if you need to use that. Making your opponent neutral to your own hits. There's just enough use cases for Soak that I haven't actually felt the need for Wide Guard. I think I managed to cover just enough with the team as a whole that I can actually just burst damage or knock out spread damage users before I would really need to use Wide Guard. However, that's me. That's my use cases. I would actually recommend using Wide Guard if you were to just replicate this team for yourself, because Wide Guard being able to stop damage in general is very useful. Soak doesn't stop damage. It just changes your opponent's type. I found it very useful if Pelipper's been on the field for way too long and the rain is already gone and I don't have a switch to be able to reset the weather. Just going for Soak before I start trying to damage with Blind Hurricanes actually works out pretty well. Not to mention if you happen to Soak your opponent and then go for Hurricane, let's say they were an Archaludon, well, now they no longer resist it. So again, being able to switch your opponent to being neutral to your moves, a very useful tool. Gardevoir is a great lead for speed control or spread damage. If the opponent wants to be hyper offensive, you have Moonblast for burst damage, Side Shock for the Sneaslers, you outspeed unboosted plus 32 Sneasler, and the Gengars, you outspeed non-mega Gengar. Also, because it seems like a lot of Aerodactyls are not running max speed. Not all, but many. At 198 speed, you actually can outspeed most of the Aerodactyls that seem to be out there, and go for an Icy Wind to drop the speed before they can even launch a Tailwind or do a Wing Beat, letting Sneasler move before Aerodactyl. Close combat always KOs, even 32 HP, 32 defense Aerodactyl, assuming they aren't defense boosting, alignment, or mega evolving after Icy Wind procs. Not to mention you're also breaking their sash. It's a pretty decent lead. Rain helps counter the Sun teams that the team would otherwise have a bit of difficulty with. And with Archaludon and Meganium on the team, Pelipper is almost a common bring, but I tend not to lead with it. Arch or Sneasler are my go-tos for partnering with Gard. Sneasler already outputs solid damage, and getting a good throat chop or close combat is always a solid momentum booster. Archaludon also gives the threat of, is rain about to come out? Which is pretty useful because it can often pressure my opponent to set up their weather early while I just protect and then drop their speed. Sneasler and Arch is a lead that I use if I see Trick Room apparent teams. Draco and Close Combat KOs any for a Giraffe. Cofagrigus would have to be max defense aligning nature with max HP to have a chance to survive. And even then it's like a 6% chance that they survive. So it's actually a pretty decent double up. If you're going for Throat Chop and Draco, by the way, because you obviously can't close combat a Cofagrigus. Many Cofagrigus also will carry a berry for recovery, but Throat Chop is merely just super effective chip. I don't get stab on that, so it only deals about, I think, maximum 33% if it's no max defense, max HP. Otherwise, it's only dealing like, I had to double check the calc again. It can deal between 45 and 55, so there is a chance if they have absolutely zero bulk. But because Sneasler does move first, you won't drop Cofagrigus low enough to actually proc their berry. Again, unless there is absolutely zero bulk, who would be doing that to the Cofagrigus. And like I said, I like Incin. I rarely bring it. Again, it's my only fake out, my only intimidate, and my only pivoting move. And I don't bring it. It's often left behind. Meganium is my only mega on the team. I often don't bring it. I've gotten a 6-win streak on Master Ball tier, lost because I tested a different team, and then went back to this one just to snag 3 more wins, because I knew I was going to be able to do so. It's far from perfect, but it satisfies just enough niches to be able to collect a good handful of victories, and I cannot complain about that. If you want to check out the team for yourself, team ID is on screen. If you want to check out the stats, here are the stats. But that's all I have to say about this team. Thanks for watching.